Isha's story time. Everyone, welcome back to my story time. My name is Isha, and today we are going to read a new book to read for my mummy. And I'm going to go close my eyes and point to a book so I can choose which book I'm reading. Let's start. I guess we're doing this book. It's called Sky the Blue Fairy. This book is called Sky the Blue Fairy. Now let's start. Okay. The water's really warm, laughed Rachel Walker. She was sitting on the rock, swishing her toes in one of the Rainspell Island's deep blue rock pools. Her friend Kirsty Tate was looking for shells on the rock nearby. Mind you don't slip, Kirsty, called Mrs. Tate. She was sitting further down the beach with Mrs. Walker. Okay, Mum, Kirsty yelled back. As she looked down at her bare feet, a pitch of green seaweed began to move there. There was something blue and shiny underneath it, Rachel. Come over here, she shouted. Rachel went over to Kirsty. What is it? She asked. Kirsty pointed to the seaweed. There's something blue under there, she said. I wonder, could it be Sky the Blue Fairy? Right. Jack Frost has banished the 7 rainbow fairies from fairyland with a magic spell. Now they were hidden on Rainspell Island. Until they were all found, there would be no colour in fairyland. Rachel and Kirsty had promised the Fairy King and Queen to help them find them. The seaweed twitched. Rachel felt her heart beat faster. Maybe the fairy is all tangled up, she whispered, like Fern, when she landed on the ivy in the tower. Fern was the green rainbow fairy. Rachel and Kirsty had already found Fern and her sister Ruby and Amber and Saffron. Suddenly a crab scuttled out from under the seaweed. It was bright blue and very shiny. Tiny rainbows sparkled across its shell. It didn't look like any of the other crabs on the beach. Kirsty and Rachel smiled at each other. It must be more of Rainspell Island's special magic. Oh no, fairy in trouble, the crab muttered in a tiny voice. Sounds a bit like 2 pebbles rubbing together. Did you hear that? Rachel gasped. The crab stopped and peered up at the glass with his little stalk eyes. Then he stood up on his back legs. What's he doing? Kirsty said in surprise. The crab pointed a claw towards some rocks further along, under the cliffs. He scuttled away for a few steps, then came back and looked up at Rachel and Kirsty again. Over there, he said in his scratchy voice. I think he wants us to follow him, Rachel said. Yes, said the little crab, clicking his claws. He set off sideways across a large flat rocks. These are the pictures. Kirsty turned to Rachel. Perhaps he knows where Sky is. I hope so, Rachel replied, her eyes shining. The crab scuttled across the stretch of sand. Rachel and Kirsty followed him. It was a hot, sunny day. Seagulls flew over on strong white wings. Rachel, Kirsty, it's nearly lunchtime, called Miss Walker. We're going back to Dolphin Cottage. Kirsty looked at Rachel in dismay. But we have to stay here and look for the blue fairy. What shall we do? The little crab jumped up and down, kicking up tiny puffs of sand. Follow me, he said. Rachel thought quickly. Mum, she called back, Could we have a picnic here instead, please? Miss Walker smiled. Why not? It's a beautiful day, and we should make the most of the last 3 days of our holiday. I'll pop back to the cottage with Kirsty's mum and fetch some sandwiches. Only 3 days, thought Kirsty, and 3 rainbow fairies still to find. Sky, Izzy, and Heather. The 2 girls waved at their mums, left. Kirsty turned to Rachel. We'd better hurry. They'll be soon back. The crab set off again over a big slippery rock. Rachel and Kirsty climbed carefully after him. Rachel saw him stop by a small pool. There were lots of pretty pink shells in it. It's the fairy in one of the rocks. Pool, she asked. Is it this one? The crab looked into the pool. He scratched the top of his head with one claw, looking puzzled. Then he scuttled away. I guess not, Kirsty said. What about here? Rachel said, stopping by another pool. This one had tiny silver fish swimming in it, but the crab shook his claws at them and kept going. Not this one either, said Kirsty. Suddenly, Rachel spotted a large pool. It was all by itself, right at the foot of the cliff. Let's try that one, she said, pointing. Kirsty ran over. The sky was reflecting in the surface of the pool like a shiny blue mirror. Rachel caught up with her friends. She leaned over and looked into the water. The crab scuttled up behind them, his stalk eyes waggling like mad. When he dipped his claw into the pool, the water fizzed like lemonade. Fairy! Cried the little crab, lifting his claw out of the water. Blue sparkles dripped off it and landed in the pool with sizzle. The entire pool was shimmering with magic. Chapter 2, Bubble Trouble. Thank you, little crab, Rachel said. She crouched down and stroked the top of the crab. That's the end of chapter 1. I hope you enjoyed this story, and don't forget to subscribe for more of these story times. Bye!